Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and what I wanted to do in this video, now that we're in 3.2, is actually show you the new reworked Avenger Titan. At first glance, looking at the ship itself, it basically looks about the same. It looks like it's gotten a little bit bigger. But this thing's almost like a TARDIS now, when you actually get inside the ship, it just uses the interior space a lot better, but it has grown in a few different ways. You can tell it's a little bit taller, it's a little bit thicker. You can see some of the textures have changed as well. You still have your Gatling gun up front. Underneath, you've almost got like this plate approach, which kind of is almost like space shuttle reminiscent. When you actually get and look at the top, you've almost got this like textured tile, almost like weave pattern on it, which is kind of cool looking. You can see it a little bit better there. It doesn't just have that smooth, like, I don't know, like porcelain finish that, we were kind of used to seeing on the old Space Penguin. It looks a little bit more detailed overall. Overall design of the ship is practically the same. When we come back here and take a look at the rear, she's basically got the same stature that she had before. So the big changes, though, are really coming more on the interior of the ship. Open it up, and you can just tell it's gotten significantly larger. The cargo bay itself is longer. It's a longer walk from the back to actually get into the doors. It's a little bit wider, and most notably, it's much taller. The taller is a nice touch because on a lot of spots in the ship before, you had to kind of do this weird crouch thing, especially in the next quadrant that we're going to get into. But you can kind of see how that works. You've got all the kind of the engineering modules down here, which are going to be your like component housing. So when you go to actually do changes and updates to your ship or need to fix something, that's where those are going to be. You got an informational screen here that looks like it can actually fold up into the top. I'm not sure what that actually is going to do for you, but maybe give you status updates on the ship. If we come into the kind of the living area, we get into the point where you have the bunk. It's a little bit more cozy. It's actually got like a pillow now. Looks like you got some more component storage. Those are going to be your shield generators up there. Maybe a power plant or a cooler. Hard to tell from that angle. Then all of a sudden you've got your storage and components and other stuff here. But honestly, in a ship like this, of this size, the bed is really what you want, so you get the log out ability. And then you come up here, but here, look at this. Like, I've got plenty of headroom, right? Like, before this was very much, you'd almost have to walk through here like like this. That's how you had to basically get through this ship before. It's a slight exaggeration, but, it is what it is. Anyways, let's go ahead and get in the cockpit. And I am doing this in Arena Commander just because it's a little bit more stable since we're just in PTU. We're not necessarily in super stable mode right now, although PTU is doing pretty well. We'll go ahead and just rotate around the ship a little bit. You get a better idea of that texture on top. Almost a honeycomb with an internal pattern. This kind of down the ridge, like that's kind of the texture we were used to on this ship. The texture along the wings now is what's really more new than anything. You can see just overall fidelity on this ship is kind of improved. Big old gun on the front still. Okay. Alright, I do want to go ahead and show you the other variants because there are several of them now with the Avenger line. So we'll go ahead and pop open the Stalker. As you can tell, the weapons are a little bit different. You got the sucker punch there, but that's really your primary difference. The exterior looks exactly the same. It's really just all about the modularity of the ship. For example, when you come in here now, all of a sudden you have 6 of these relatively large holding pods, which you can see it looks relatively person-sized. Not supposed to be super comfortable for the criminals. And then when you come in here, it's all exactly the same. So the modularity is exclusively to the rear. One thing I didn't necessarily show on the last one was all of these do have a secondary entrance. If you don't want to go through the back, you can use the ladder here. So for example, if you're able to fill your cargo to the brim, you can still end up getting into the ship. So I'll go ahead and go pull the Warlock now and show off that one. Okay, here we go with the Avenger Warlock. You can see again the exterior is the same. It's got the weaponry that the Stalker has as far as the actual sucker punches on the side instead of the laser repeaters. The obvious big difference on this one is going to be what is in the rear. Got a little bit of glitching there for a sec. That's okay. The size of this EMP has become staggeringly large. It basically takes up the entirety of the rear of this ship, which is kind of crazy. You can actually kind of walk in here. Now it gets a little bumpy, so maybe we should probably crouch. Let's try that again, crouched. Nope. Ah, beware. So I think you're supposed to get back there and actually do some servicing. Right now it's a little bit treacherous. I'm not going to go any further in there because it doesn't appear to want me in there. Nope. Okay. Ow, ow, ow. Stop it. My ship's angry. There you go. So that's the side. But obviously on the Warlock, you're not going to be able to go up to the cockpit, right? So what I just showed you on the Stalker is what's going to be important here. And it's going to be actually utilizing this to get into the ship, which we'll go ahead and do just to show you. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm going to go ahead and pull the Renegade, show you the last variant of these, and then, like I said before, we haven't been able to do a lot of combat testing with this being an Evocati, so I'll be doing a combat effectiveness on this ship as well to give you an update on how well it performs. And then I'll try and do some testing with the Org as well to identify like what the effective range is right now on the EMP and the Warlock, because I think that's going to be interesting and kind of important too. So be right back with a Renegade. Alright, here we go with the Titan Renegade. Now remember, the Titan, or the Renegade is essentially just a Titan, right? It's still the courier, it's still got the, you know, the cargo in the back in the open space. The difference is you end up having these ballistic cannons on there, and you still have the same Gatling, so instead of the laser cannon, you end up getting a different weapon on the side. The big differentiator is obviously the special edition. Oh, look at this prospector coming in all honorary, trying to laser people. You get the special edition colors on the Renegade. I bet he's going to come over here and zap me. Let me get inside real quick so I can finish this off. Might need to file a bug report. Oh, this one's a little glitchy too. But the interior is exactly the same as the Titan. Let's power on the engines. We'll take her for a flight. As far as flight model and stuff goes, not a lot has changed. The top speed right now is approximately 260, I believe it is. Let me go ahead and get her up to speed. Yep, 260, and then if we get up to top AB speed, actually, hang on, I'm going to turn around. I don't want to run out of space here. Not the fastest accelerating thing in the world. I think it's like 11:15, but don't hold me to that. Let's just figure it out here. Ah, Christ. Are we going to stop? Are we going to stop? Alright, so if you're noticing I'm now in the verse, it was because I was having a hard time getting up to speed without going out of bounds in Arena Commander, so I said, what the heck, and good news is good news. I got myself a decent server, so I got some pretty good frames here. So we're approaching our top speed. As you can tell, if I wasn't able to get up to top speed in Arena Commander, which is a decent-sized space, that means that the acceleration on the Avenger isn't necessarily as great to cruise speed. You know, when you compare this to something like the Herald or the Blade or the M50 or the Razor or something like that, it just pales in comparison. It just has a really hard time doing anything as far as getting up to top speed. Now, it's not a slow ship by any means, and when you're talking about, you know, a $55 ship or something like that, I mean, it does pretty well. But, you know, going back to the old days where we were like, oh, this has a size 5 engine on it, it's supposed to be an interceptor and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really feel like that anymore. Okay, so top speed is 11:15, like I thought. All right, as far as overall, like, agility stuff is concerned, it's less than something like a Saber or a Gladius. It does do better than something like a Hornet. It's a pretty well-balanced ship in regards to its overall durability, and now when you start talking about the, you can see like the roll there is fine, the pitch is pretty decent, the yaw is actually really good. It feels like the yaw is probably its best axis, you know, as far as the responsiveness and everything is concerned there. But as far as durability, speed, firepower, I mean, the Gatling gun on it is no joke. You've got the you know, the repeaters on the side on the Titan, you know, and the Stalker version, you're going to have the sucker punches there. But overall, just balance of the ship feels pretty good. You you know, the interior, I think, is obviously the selling point on it now, because all of a sudden you get, you know, a little bit more cargo space, you get more living space, you get to walk around a little bit better. Just everything about this ship is basically in a better spot right now than it was not long ago. So that's a very good sign for the new Avenger, especially considering it's one of those ships that I'm basically constantly recommending to people. I'm glad to see I'm not totally crazy in making that recommendation anymore. So if you guys have questions about the rework, let me know. Yeah, otherwise I'll continue to put out videos and content and hopefully get you guys what you need. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and take care.